Okay, just a quick update. You can see here we're working on the turtle deck. This is the wing as I pull back. And you can see right now what we're doing is we're putting the sheeting on them. Actually, if you look closely, you see these are just strips of balsa. The kit comes with these turtle decks, as you can see here. Turtle deck pieces. Oops. There we go. But they just never fit right. They didn't fit right on the first one, as you can see, or the one I have sitting over there, and they just don't fit right on this one, even after following the instructions. So a little trick I learned from building the Cessna you see sitting up there is you take strips of balsa using the wonderful Master Air Screw stripper, balsa stripper, as you can see. And you just make strips of balsa and just glue them in place. And it really conforms nicely to the formers, as you can see. And what makes this complicated isn't just the curvature this way, but if you notice the curvature of the wing going this way, it has to fit in here as well. That's why these turtle decks have this curved portion here. So that way they'll fit. It's supposed to fit in there like that. But of course, as you can see, it's not shaped properly. So, but anyway, we'll be able to use some pieces of this, particularly this section in here, once we get further down in there. So our turtle deck is forming. There we go. All right, just a quick update. You can see we've got our turtle deck is done. This is just some filler. I'm letting it fully dry, then we'll sand it down. And the ultimate goal, of course, is to get it to look like this, which is the other wing for the other Rutan Quickie that I have. Now, while that's drying, I'm working on this one over here, getting the motor on this one. And I made these 2-inch standoffs, but they're a little too long. As you can see here, back of the cowling as it relates to the back of the spinner, too much space. And after doing some measurements, it looks like I'm just going to need to lop off these 2 pieces of plywood, and then and that should give it the proper spacing. So that's it for the update, and more to come. All right, continuing with our update, you can see how I've taken the top portion off of the block here. As you can see, this is what the original block looked like here. This is what the new block is going to look like. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to mount the motor on with the new blocks and see if that takes care of the spacing issue in the front of the cowl. All right, continuing with our update, here's our Quickie that is covered. And I was able to get the engine mounted. You can see we've got our standoffs, went perfect. We're going to mount our ESC here. Need a little Velcro under here. We're going to put a strap over it as well to help hold it in place. You can see we've got our bolts in there. And what I did is I also put this extra piece of spruce right there, as you can see. That way, these wires here and here will go through here, like so. Oops, underneath there. And then through here. It keeps it up and out of the way because the servos for the canard are sitting in this area, and we don't want those wires getting caught up in the actual servos. So that part is done for right now. That's mounted. And we're going to have to make this a little longer, though, probably about an additional 2 inches. There's already an extension on here, on the ESC. This is the extension. It looks like about 2 more inches should do the trick. That way it's able to reach the battery tray, which is what's sitting right here. Now, going over here to our turtle deck, you can see our turtle deck is done. We had the filler put in, sanded smooth, came out really well, looks great. And I just got done drilling the holes. We already drilled the holes previously on the bottom. Here, as you can see, when we initially drilled the holes to mount the wing into the mounting blocks. But when you put the balsa block here, you have to drill through the bottom hole, through the top. So we just got done doing that. Now the next thing is recessed. And you'll notice here, I just did this wing. That's the wing for the covered Quickie. Here are the recessed holes. That way the bolt sits down and nice and smooth. You can't You cannot not recess. I tried it. The problem is when you do that, it causes the bolt head to tilt to one side because of the curvature, as you can see there, of the balsa block, the way it curves down. So you have to have a recess. So I'm about to do that on here. Now I found a little trick. When the bolt is all the way in, you simply take a little marker and go around the head here to mark off where you're going to recess. But what you do is then you use a 1/4 inch dowel. And on the end of the dowel, might be a little difficult to see, you put 80 grit sandpaper. And the 80 grit is this sticky sandpaper here. You can get it from Great Plains, but there's other places that sell adhesive type sandpaper. And you just put a dab of CA on the end of your 1/4 inch dowel, cut off a little circular piece, and once it's dried on there, then you can just go ahead and slowly by hand begin to just start the actual recess until you get a bit of a groove, and then attach it to your drill. And then it just goes onto the drill end here, and you simply spin the drill just like you would a drill bit, except you're actually making a recessed hole. And that's how I was able to get these perfectly recessed holes, as you can see there. So I'm about to do that now. So, helpful tips. All right, continuing with our update, you can see we've got the holes recessed just perfectly. Looks great, and you can see when I take this and drop it right in there like so, give a little push. Actually, let me grab our little hand screwdriver here and screw this down. See how nicely it recesses in. There you go. That's it. Nice and smooth all the way around. Looks great. Not really elevated, just a tiny, tiny bit, which is fine. Oops, which is fine. So it worked out perfect. And that's it. Alrighty.